Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MME Podcast. This week we have Matthew,
Nathan,
Miki,
and Sean.
Now, we have a new guest here, Sean, so we have to ask you the question. And that question being, what is your nerdy origin story?
I guess I've kind of always been a nerd. I got Pokemon when I was in second grade. I got my Pokemon Gold, and I probably became a real nerd when I started playing Final Fantasy X
Nice.
on the PlayStation. Good game. Got me into JRPGs. It's all I play now.
You've got to be so much younger than me. I remember playing, it came out long before that, but my first RPG was almost certainly the original Final Fantasy, because I had a Nintendo growing up. And I also played Pokemon Red, the original Pokemon game.
my origin story actually involves Pokemon too, but I was in grade 8, so that kind of shows my age a little bit.
Yeah.
on the topic of Pokemon, I never really played Pokemon as a kid, so I have no idea when I was introduced to Pokemon.
Oh,
It's maybe high school?
wow.
Did you never see the show on TV ever?
I never
Commercials?
watched it. I probably saw bits and pieces of it, but I had no interest. I was more focused on card captors and Tokyo Mew Mew.
Yeah.
It was way more important than Pokemon.
Yeah. Anything else that you can remember growing up that was stood out to you as a defining nerd moment?
I mean, aside from just playing games 24/7,
Yeah.
waking up at 6 o'clock on weekends to play video games because I wasn't allowed to play during the week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't do my homework, so that's how they put me in timeout for not being able to play video games. I started playing Game Boy outside. My mom would put me outside on the street, and our neighbors would go over and be like, "Is Sean in trouble? He's playing Game Boy in your front yard."
And that's when the Game Boy got taken away?
No, I hid it in the bathroom, and then I'd take really long poops playing Game Boy.
Wow.
Nice.
Super long adventures.
I don't know if my parents would have fallen for that. I think although, to be fair, I also grew up in a household with a mother that worked late and a father that drove buses, and often from 1 till 10. So I was, after the babysitting thing stopped being efficient punishments for me because there was no one home to apply it. They could take a power cord, but we had extra power cords, and I always knew where to find one to plug things in.
Yeah, I did that with my computer. Late high school, they took my power cord, and I just went downstairs to the amp.
Yeah.
It's the same power cord.
Yeah.
Took my dad's amp power cord.
Yeah.
Didn't notice.
Clearly he plays his 18,000 instruments often.
Yeah.
He plays them all.
I remember as a kid, I never really had that issue of parents taking away my handheld games. I didn't get a handheld game until I was grade 12.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty sad, but yeah, I don't really ever remember being punished that much, especially in terms of entertainment.
Yeah.
She always was just soap in the mouth. Here we go.
Never had that. I knew some.
The good thing is it only lasts 10 minutes.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my parents never did that. I knew people who had to deal with being washed out with soap, but that was...
I convinced my parents that I liked the taste of the soap, and I
Oh.
started using hot sauce, and it was much better.
Yeah, I can imagine.
What? How
Much
did you
better, isn't it?
manage
Much
that?
better.
I don't know. You can ask my mom about it. I have no idea.
Wow.
I mean, if you like hot sauce, that's not so bad. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
It depends what it
It's
is.
a great deal.
Yeah.
Just normal Tabasco hot sauce.
That's not so bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
How
it's-
old were you?
I don't know. I can't remember ages of stuff growing up.
Yeah.
Sneaky. I mean, I remember my dad who had his own computer. Nobody else had a computer. And he had a password on it so that I couldn't use it because I didn't need to be on the computer all the time. Whatever. Yes, I did. So I remember one day he let me use his computer. He put the password in, whatever. So I Googled how to get around the password.
Yeah.
And I remembered everything because I couldn't write it down because he'd know, obviously.
Yeah.
And so the next time he wasn't paying attention and I wanted to use the computer, I just, kind of went around it. I think it's F8 or something on startup. You just push it too many times.
Hold it.
Yeah.
Hold it, whatever. I think I read it as pushing it, so I just kind of went there and just tapped it furiously until the screen popped up.
Yeah.
And then you can just open it in like safe mode or whatever. Change
Interesting.
the password.
Yeah.
I think I made the hint like screw you or something like that or haha.
How old were you?
12.
12. Nice. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, my dad quickly learned how to put a password on safe mode, and I was very upset.
Unfortunate.
Can't get around that one.
No, you can't. I didn't really get to use the computer much when I was younger. I was mostly console and Game Boy and other stuff like that because I had an older brother. He would be on the computer, like the upstairs was his where the computer was, and me and my twin brother would go downstairs where we had our console, just to keep us from fighting because we never really fought. But he would be up there for like 3 hours until 3 or 4 hours until my mom would get home. And then, God forbid, we were on there for more than an hour, and he didn't get to go back on. But you ask him to get off, it would take him 45 minutes from when you asked to get on the computer to get off. So, it was awful. It sucked. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't have a computer at home until I was in grade 12, I think, and I had to buy it myself. But when I did, because I bought it myself, I kept it in my room, so I got to use it all the time. I'd let my sisters in, like, sparingly, and, like, my mom. But we didn't have the internet. It was a thing, because my mom wouldn't pay for it, and I didn't, I couldn't really set up, like, internet on my own. Anyway, so I'd have to, like, go and download all my games when I was at my dad's or my grandmother's and then bring them in. So I was kind of limited to what I could play on, like, offline. But
Yeah.
I remember when I finally got a computer in my room. I think it was like a Windows 95 computer. This is probably in like 2006.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no way that was anywhere near recent when you got it.
No, but Windows 95 was also really old at that point.
Exactly,
Still.
that's what I mean. Like,
It was an old computer. It was pretty shitty. The screen that I had was probably 2 feet deep.
Yeah. Big old CRTs.
Oh, yeah. And I remember I let my brother use it once.
Yeah.
He was on it for maybe 45 minutes, and then he was like, computer stopped working. And I was like, what do you mean it stopped working? I haven't even had it for a year yet. And sure enough, he got like 18 viruses on it, and it like completely stopped functioning, and I had to reset it completely.
wow.
Did
like,
he just go
factory
to like
settings.
all the worst porn websites?
What
I have
websites
no
did you go to?
idea.
Like,
I have no idea. He was like, I just wanted to play games on Miniclip, and I was like, no, you are not on Miniclip. There's no way.
Your
Yeah.
brother went to porn sites.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, there were also websites with flash games and stuff that would absolutely give you viruses.
Probably.
So-
I mean, he wasn't on Miniclip because I'd check in every once in a while to make sure he wasn't downloading anything.
Yeah.
None of it was Miniclip.
It took me so long to realize that Miniclip existed because, like, when I was growing up in my elementary school, the games we were always playing were, like, addictinggames.com.
Yeah.
Was the one that we always went to, and no one went to, like, Club Penguin or Miniclip. So it was all addicting games and Neopets.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
I remember trying to sign up for Neopets, and I remember because you had to do like the security questions, and it was like, where were you born? And I had to go ask my mom, where was I born? She was like, in the hospital. I was like, wow, thanks. It's not my question, really.
Yeah. I remember Neopets. I played that when I was in like 4th grade, I think. So that's when we first got the internet. I think we got a computer the year before, and then we got an internet a year later, something like that, back in the year 1998, I guess.
This is going to make me sound really young, but I don't remember ever not having a computer, and I also don't ever remember not having high-speed internet. I do, however, everybody else that I knew who had internet still had dial-up.
Okay.
So
you
like, both sets of grandparents had computer and dial-up, so I'm well acquainted with the dial-up tone.
Yeah. I think it was probably around the year 2000 before I got high-speed internet, 2000, 2001, something like that.
That was
Yeah.
probably about when we got it too, honestly.
Yeah.
Can't really remember much before that.
Yeah.
My first experience actually was my grandmother. She bought a computer. I taught her how to use it and stuff, and she only had dial-up. And back in the days of dial-up, there's this program you could get where if you had a big download, it would take forever, right, on dial-up. And if you wanted to go do something, then you would have to leave the dial-up running. Anyway, so there's this program that would monitor your download and turn it off as soon as, like, to disconnect the internet as soon as the download was done. That was really cool. That was
yeah.
really handy. Until we discovered this other thing where, same deal, if you're on dial-up and someone called you, it would pop up and say, yeah, so-and-so's calling. Do you want to send them to voicemail? Do you want to answer. So that was really cool.
Yeah, we had that as well.
It made dealing with dial-up manageable.
Yeah.
Until we got high speed, and then everything's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember until like maybe 6 years ago, one of my sets of grandparents still had dial-up.
Oh, wow.
Because they lived pretty far out and they couldn't even get cable internet. They had to have satellite. And so I had to go over to their house for the weekend. But I had homework to do, and homework required internet research. So I needed to use their dial-up internet. It took forever, and I wasn't used to having dial-up, so I forgot to turn the internet off.
Oh, no.
And apparently it was left on for a few days.
And you used up all their internet?
And, well, they didn't care about that. It was more so, we got so many calls. We didn't even know. We missed, like, what were you thinking? And I was like, I'm sorry. It's been a long time since I used dial-up.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah, I can't remember dial-up at all. My grandfather worked for Bell Alliance, so internet company, so he had high speed as soon as he could, so my grandparents never had high speed. My other set of grandparents still don't have internet.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever get. Well, they have internet. They just don't know how to use it and don't have a computer.
Yeah.
Why do they have internet?
That's a
Part
good
of a
question.
bundle with their
Okay.
TV. They needed TV.
I was going to say, do they have Wi-Fi for visiting people or something?
Pretty much.
That's what they originally had, and then their bundle ran out, so they didn't want the price to go up, so they got rid of it.
Yeah.
And they thought that the Wi-Fi would make everyone stay longer.
Aw.
It didn't really, though.
No, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, they have a grandson who doesn't exactly want to ever be there.
That's not me, by the way. That's
Okay.
my cousin.
Gotcha.
So I remember, well, actually, yesterday, somebody in here was playing a lot of Stardew.
Yeah, I just started a new Stardew game last night, because we just moved, and I have no internet for like a week,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't sign up your internet last minute at the busiest time of the year. You won't get to,
No,
use it.
Yeah.
no. It was supposed to be 9 days.
Yeah, it was going to be
It's
9
going to
days.
be 9 days. And then they called and we're like, oh, we can't do it that day. We'll have to push it back.
Of course, it was a Friday, and then they had to push it back, like, over the weekend. So it's another weekend without internet.
Added 3 whole days to your internetless existence,
Yep.
which is brutal.
Pretty relatable to that dial-up topic now.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
segue into, we don't have internet for a week and a half. What are we going to do?
So, new game of Stardew.
Yeah, new game has started.
You played through it before.
Yeah, I played a while before the first content update, like before you could start dating Emily and Shane, I think were the two that were added.
And like the 4 new farms that they
Oh,
added
And the
in.
new farms.
I think that's when I played before that as well.
Yeah.
I did 2 years. I want to start it up again one of these days.
I've got 2 files on 3 years.
Nice.
Wow.
Uh,
That takes a lot of time.
yeah. Harvest Moon has always been one of my favorite games, so yeah. And although it's a little bit better now, but when it first came out, when you married someone, they stayed in your house. That was it. They were your little house person, and it was
Yep.
really strange. Just like, don't worry, your married partner doesn't need to have their own life. They can just sit in there and produce babies for you and make your meals.
Sometimes they water like a quarter of your crops.
That's true, yeah.
Sometimes
I mean,
they feed the animals, but at that point, chances are you have auto feeders.
auto feeders, and my entire field is sprinklers. So like, I watered your plants for you. Gee, thanks. I also gave the dog water. You don't need to give the dog water. It does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. It doesn't even make them love you more.
So you picked the dog instead of the cat. The cat's so
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah,
The cat is adorable.
I picked the cat.
I'm a dog person. I love all animals. I like cats. I've got 2 cats right now and no dogs because I live in an apartment, but I am fundamentally a dog person. So
Yeah. I've only played like 5 days of my new startup town. I just got the cat, and I was like, yes, okay, I can stop after this day now and go to sleep.
have you chosen who you're gonna marry yet? 5 days in.
I'm between Haley or Alex.
Okay.
I did
not-
Haley my first game.
I'm not sure. Which.
She's like the spoiled city girl, but as you start to kind of love her, like she becomes more of like a down to earth person.
She was a bitch to me. I was like, nah, fuck you. And then I
Yeah.
married Abigail, and then I married Leah. I think her name is.
has a heart of
Yeah.
I wanted to marry Haley in my first game, and then I was like, wow, you're a horrible person.
Yeah.
Never mind.
She
And
gets
then
better,
married
I
Penny. And now on my newest farm, I'm only in summer, so it's not gonna be for a while, but I'm gonna marry Alex.
Okay. Did you make any mistakes? Like someone I was talking to, it might have been you. Someone went with the animal, tried to go like all animals at first, and you can't do that because animals more often than not lose you money. And if you get pigs, ducks, or rabbits to high level of affection, they stop giving you things because it's supposed to be giving you the highest quality ingredient, and because they can't increase in quality, it bugs out the game and they just drop nothing.
Interesting.
still
I wonder if
happen,
they
though?
fixed that.
From what I understand, it was still happening last time I played it, which was after the big update. I think it only started happening in the last big update because iridium quality wasn't a thing before that. So
Oh, I forgot about iridium quality.
yeah, it's brand new.
It is.
I didn't play. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's just another star level of quality. Like you can get gold star crops,
Oh, okay, I get you. Yeah.
Purple stars.
purple stars.
My first year in the game was kind of rough because I didn't really pursue anyone. I didn't really fully understand like the building of relationships. But then my second year, I realized how profitable making wine was. So I grow blueberries and then have a whole bunch of wine kegs, and you just roll in it after that.
Yeah, they reduced the price, but I used to, as soon as I got the greenhouse, I just filled it with cranberries because that was by far the most profitable thing.
Okay.
They reduced that now. I think it's still the most profitable, but it's not like twice as profitable as the next most profitable item. So,
Right.
And I'd also make starfruit wine a lot.
That's what I
That's all-
did quite a bit too.
Starfruit
And I
and ancient
had
fruit wines.
a lot of cranberries
Yeah.
chilling in my fridge.
Yeah.
In my first playthrough, I think I made a lot more beer than I made wine. Because
Yeah.
I didn't really care about the money. I was like, whatever, I'm making enough.
Yeah.
I can build a few things. And they didn't have like the next tier of buildings either.
Yeah.
They came up with some really huge money sinks
Yeah.
in the newest or the latest update. It's been a while.
Yeah, they've got something that costs just $1 million to build plus a ton of stuff. I think it might be 10 million actually. It's a lot of gold.
Is that the gold clock?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
and
so.
it like doesn't do anything, right?
Wow.
No, it makes things stop like you know sometimes you'll have like a random log on your farm or a random rock.
Oh, yeah.
They don't spawn if
Yeah.
you have the gold clock. There's just it remains unchanged.
Oh.
Well, at least it's useful.
Yeah, it's just one of these like stop with the busy work of your farm. Get back to planting things once in the beginning of summer because none of the replantable crops actually are worth planting because they didn't balance the game properly. But that's fine. It was developed by one guy. I mean, that to be fair, that's been true of I think every Harvest Moon game.
It's a farming game.
Yeah.
Right? It
Yeah.
doesn't need balance.
But I want to min-max my farm, and it means I always just plant things once, never plant them again.
You can plant corn once.
Yeah, you can. There's a lot of things you can plant once, and those are the things that get you the most money.
So how do you
Corn
feel
does
about
not give you the most money.
No, it doesn't. That one's actually because you can use it for to make chicken feed, and then you don't have to buy chicken feed.
I did not know that.
Yeah, or am I thinking of a different game?
I was
I
gonna
might be
say,
thinking
I'm
of
pretty sure the
game.
chickens eat hay.
Yeah, they
they
do.
do.
Everything eats hay.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Okay.
I'm thinking of actual Harvest Moon.
That would
Sorry, I
have
get
been
mixed
cooler
up
though.
sometimes. Yeah.
You can make the corn for chicken.
How do you
That'd be
feel
cool.
about trees then, if you like min-maxing?
I actually always have trees just because I like having them, and also because you can make maple bars, and they're actually really good early game foodstuffs.
But like
Yeah.
the fruit trees? Do you
Oh,
ever
the
buy
fruit trees,
those?
yeah. I have those because there are like achievements and things like that are for shipping a certain amount of everything. So I have like 2 of every type of tree, and they sit in the bottom corner of my screen, and I go pick things from there once in a while.
So then, if you like min-maxing,
Yeah.
did you pick Jojo Mart
No.
or okay?
No, I did not.
If you pick Jojo Mart and it's not your second play, like on your first playthrough, then you're a monster.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you just pay money for everything. It's so boring.
Yeah.
It's super boring.
And the
Kind of
community center turns blue.
and
Yeah,
it looks
right.
ugly,
Well,
and it's a warehouse.
Deal with that ugly dude.
yeah, I don't really see that as min-maxing because at least the other things, it gives you goals and it helps you continue to play, where if it's just money, you're just like, okay, now I'm literally just going to grow only one type of crop because it's the best profit and do nothing but that. At least this way it's like, I need to get gold crops, I need to get these things. It gives you goals. I still like goals even while I'm trying to maximize my profits.
I think we were talking about different challenges for Stardew
Yeah.
Doing a
because we're
challenge
both
run.
on easily our second or third or so farm.
Yeah.
So what were a few of the ones that we talked about?
One of them was like only fruit trees and not putting them in the greenhouse because like you can put fruit trees in the greenhouse, they produce all year. They took out the bug where you could build it around the crop.
I think he
Yeah.
put
In the
that back
greenhouse.
though.
They put it back.
I think he did. I'm not sure.
What was it?
There was a bug before the big update where you could put fruit trees on the edge of the greenhouse.
Okay.
Like it's still inside, but not like in the dirt.
Okay.
And they would grow and they would produce as long as you had the 4 around it,
Yeah.
or however many you need around
Hey.
it. Thank you. And then in the big update, he took that out, so you couldn't put them in the outside, inside the greenhouse, outside the dirt.
Okay.
But I think he's put it back to the original since then, because it was like, well, now my fruit trees can only grow during one season. That kind of sucks.
That's how I have them going. I feel like there's so many better things to put in your greenhouse that aren't fruit trees. It's just like, feels like a waste of space.
But if you could put your fruit trees outside of the dirt,
Yeah.
that's a great place for
it doesn't
them.
take up any
Then
crop
it doesn't
space.
take.
I guess, yeah. I never tried that because I assumed it wouldn't work because I was assuming I was working with a competently programmed game. And it is. It's a really good game, but there are silly things like that where it's like, why was that not checked for? And there's some really, really bad dialogue moments with some of the characters. I think he fixed some of them, but there were some of them in the beginning that were just like, there were a couple with Abigail that I was just like, what the hell is this? No one talks like this. What's happening?
He also added some dialogue for some funny stuff, like
Yeah.
if you take Mayor Lewis's shorts,
Yeah.
his underwear, and like put it in your display on the festival.
Yeah, the Grange display.
Originally, like someone posted, like, look what I did on Reddit,
Yeah.
and he said nothing. He said the same thing. He's like, oh, your display looks great, but like they added in a line of dialogue, him going like, what? How did you get those? Why are they on display?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then he tells you to like keep it a secret. Here's like 200 less star points than what you would have gotten if you had won first place.
Yeah, I had already returned his shorts before I got to the Lagrange display, so I didn't realize I could do that. So I actually had to try and get first place, which I did because, yeah.
I also saw somebody on Reddit do something similar. They took the shorts, Robin's axe, and like a bunch of other
One-time
NPC,
things.
yeah, like one-time sort of quest items, and they put them all in the Grange display.
Nice.
I don't remember what happened though.
I think they're worth nothing. Although if Mayor Lewis was there, he'd give you the, kind of consolation type thing.
Yeah, definitely. They were definitely there.
Yeah,
They were probably in the center still.
probably. Yeah. Proudly displayed. Look what I found in old Marnie's bedroom. Yeah, if anyone's playing and can't find his shorts, they're in the barn.
The
barn
barn
owners.
person.
The barn person. But I can't speak.
In Marnie's barn, in
Marnie's
her
barn.
bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to give her 2 hearts before you can get them. And, like,
Yeah.
when I got to that, I saw them, and I was like, oh my god, I have to spend the next, 3 weeks in-game giving her presents.
Yeah.
It's like almost a full week. Or
3 weeks.
full month.
Yeah, almost
Full
a full
season.
month.
Because you can only give people 2 gifts a week. So.
Unless it's their birthday.
Yes. Yeah.
Then you can give them 3 that week.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah. And you can, and they get a huge boost. Always give them something on their birthday. Like, that's all I did my first playthrough is I'd find out their birthday, give them a gift they really liked, and it'd give them, 3 or 4 hearts. And it's just like, gotta stop. Sorry for the popping noises. I keep slapping my knee. Gonna try to stop now.
And you can see the birthdays on the calendar beside the bulletin board, too.
Yeah.
Which I didn't
Right.
realize what that was until
Oh.
way too far into the game.
Yeah.
Pretty sad.
I realized it right away, but in your first year, you can't really... You can give people things they like, but you can't really give them things they love until second year, because that's usually stuff that has to be cooked or high-quality ingredients or whatever.
Well, with Leah, you can go buy salads at the
Yeah.
bar and then give her to her.
Yeah.
This is the best. Because I did Leah first.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, cool.
I recently learned that everybody in town, every single person, loves prismatic shards except for Haley.
Yeah.
It's like the most sought after item in the entire game, and she's like, nah,
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's similar with the rabbit foot, I think. No, it's not the rabbit. There's another item that most everyone loves, but one person doesn't, or 2 or 3 people maybe. But yeah, they're called universal loves. I looked this up because I was trying to make people love me. I was like, I want to be everybody's friends because there are achievement things going along with it, and I'm like, I love this game. I might as well try for it.
Yeah.
One of them's have everybody above 5 hearts. It's really hard.
That sounds tricky. Wow.
That's a lot of people.
That does sound really
You gotta
tricky.
spend a lot of your day just going around giving gifts.
And I hate that
if you can
shithead wizard.
find them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even hard. You just need solar or dark essences. But I hate having to go out of my way because there's literally nothing else you want to go that way to go talk to the wizard,
Well, unless you
in
want
his
to go
tower.
see the crazy lady.
which I never do.
No?
No.
Oh, she can
She's-
give so many useful things, though.
Doesn't she just oh, do you mean the cart lady?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's only certain days though.
We always call her the crazy lady.
Okay.
Yeah, well, she looks like a crazy lady. She's bringing stuff in on a cart.
She'll sell 2 items that are the same thing, one 10 times the price the other one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you got to keep your eye out for those deals on the iridium sprinklers and make sure you don't get shafted on them.
Yeah, really, though.
It's like 2,000 gold or 10,000 gold. It's like, why? But yeah, that's how I always end up starting my iridium sprinklerage.
Splinkerage.
Splinkerage. I'm not good at the
Splinker.
words.
Sprinkler supply.
Yes, Splink. Never mind.
That 5 times fast.
Yeah, Sprinklerage. There we go.
Oh my god.
But that's how you usually get your first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's by far the quickest, assuming she shows up with one, because there have been times where I've showed up like 10 times waiting for her to have one, and it's just not there. And I'm like, And then there's the one time where I just bought like a whole bunch of new crops, so I'm poor, and I like built a new barn, and it's like, oh, there it is. Thanks, game. That's fantastic. I love you. Keep doing that.
She's also really good for batteries.
Yes. Yeah, that's the best supply until you can just line your farm with lightning rods. And they also protect your trees, although thankfully fruit trees apparently can't be struck by lightning. So.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Although I did know that if you get out enough hearts with Pam, she'll randomly send you things from time to time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she'll send you is beer.
Okay.
She'll just send you beer in the mail. And I've also seen other people have been sent by Pam batteries. And then the next day, they'll get a mail from her being like, hey, I need a battery and my remote's dead and I can't find one. It's like, oh my god, are you serious?
I've never gotten a battery from her, so I've gotten other things. But she's super easy to make like you. You just have to get beer casks and then start making pale ale. Just make a bunch and then...
Makes it in a day, right?
Yeah, it's a day.
Hops in one day.
Yeah, so it's super easy to make Pam like you, which is probably makes sense because she's the least interesting character in the game.
Well, George is pretty not interesting.
That too. But I mean, he's just a grumpy old man. He could be grumpy and old if he wants. But, I mean...
Evelyn. I was trying to think of George's wife's name last night and I couldn't do it, and I just remembered it's Evelyn.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? I seem to be good at fictional names and things I get obsessed with, like Game of Thrones. I remember a lot of those names, and I'm talking to people, and they'll be like, this guy. I'm like, you mean this person? They'll be like, and this guy. I'm like, that guy. They have names. Remember them. You don't have to remember them. It's fine.
You've read the books, though, right?
Yeah.
So people that read the books generally remember names a lot better.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I remember Yara, but not her name in the books, and I remember Osha, and not her name in the books, the wildling.
Right.
So...
Spoiler alert.
Do I know either of
I don't
those
think
people?
I know
Yeah,
either.
you know both of them.
We know both of
Yara
them.
is Theon's sister. And
Season 2?
Osha, yeah, I think it's season 2 or 3. And you're at least in season 4 now.
No, we're in season 6.
Yeah, you've definitely seen them. And Osha is the wildling from season 1, the one that pulls a knife on Bran. And
Oh,
yeah,
Okay.
she has a name.
she
Yeah.
has a
I've
name.
never heard her name.
Yeah, she's Osha with an O, and then in the books, Theon's sister is Asha with an A.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not confusing at all.
That's why they changed it to Yara.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So it's just, there are people with different names, and I remember the TV version because I haven't read the books since season 1 came out. Because season 1 came out, and I was like, I heard they were based on books. Like, oh, I better go read those. So I did. And that's the end of that story. Super interesting. I don't remember what we were talking about when I got sidetracked into talking about me remembering names.
I remembered Evelyn's name.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I never remember names from Game of Thrones. So,
Yeah.
say them once, and I never catch them because they're not, names you hear every day, like Yara and Asha.
Osha is the one in the
Osha?
show. Asha's in the books.
It's going to
Never
confuse
gonna
you further now.
Yep.
Yeah, it probably will.
You definitely just need to read the book.
Yeah.
Then you remember it.
I haven't read a book in so long. This is very depressing. I think one of the last books I read was the Harry Potter books.
Wow.
And I read them all.
You surely have read a book for school.
Well, yeah, for school. I don't count those because I never enjoy
Okay.
reading books for school because I'm forced to. The last ones I read on purpose myself were the Harry Potter books, and it was in the last movie came out. I read them all.
I haven't been reading as many books because I have Audible now, and it's just cheaper for me to get Audible audiobooks through Audible.
I'm sure it is. Books are way too expensive.
They are, and I tend to like big, thick books that'll cost $25-$30. So big, thick fantasy books that are terribly written, but I love them nonetheless.
Terribly written.
Some of them are really badly written. Some of them aren't. Like Game of Thrones, I keep hearing people say that the TV show is better than the books, and I still disagree vehemently with that. Especially in the recent seasons where there's so many just TV moments where people are rescued last minute, which didn't really happen before. It just keeps picking up with more and more of those people survive things they wouldn't have survived in the books. And
Well, I
makes me
mean, they're
sad.
getting further and further away from the original story, too, right?
They're way past now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're in season 6. You're already past where the books are.
Who knew? I
He did.
didn't.
I
He
did.
yeah.
It's almost like I'm a bit obsessive about Game of Thrones.
Matt with all the knowledge and all the names.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Have
not
you ever
what I do.
read Patrick Rothfuss, Name of the Wind?
Yeah, it's probably
So
my
good.
favorite series right now, and I'm desperately waiting for the
I
third book.
know, it's so good. It's like an adult Harry Potter, and
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah, that's the way I keep hearing it described. And I was talking to DJ, and he's like, "Is it darker than Harry Potter?" I was like, "Come on, dude. Harry Potter's not that dark. It's a bit dark in places, but it's
Yeah.
not."
I just love like the story, the trope of like the genius who's super good at lots of stuff, but still kind of fucks things up a lot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where he's at.
There's one thing I don't like about his writing, and there are times where this is going to sound really bad. I swear I'm not anti-feminist, but he comes across as someone who's trying very hard to prove that they're a feminist. Like, he has a point in the books where the main character's morals are completely wiped out, but he wouldn't ever consider sexually assaulting the woman there, but he would absolutely consider murdering people and not even think twice about it. So, but he's such a good guy that he would never do anything untoward towards women. And I'm like, he has no morals. It's okay for him to be bad towards women. That makes no sense.
If you're writing a character with no morals, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's something that wipes out his morals, and it just bothered me because I'm like, he's supposed to have no idea of consequences and morality. And then there's another thing where the warriors in the society, the best warriors are the women, which again just strikes me as something he brought up because he wanted to have strong women, which is fine. But everyone there is soldier in there are warriors. And men have more muscle. I don't understand why you would make it so the women could be competent, better fighters than every other man in the world, and they could be nearly equals. But it makes no sense that they're like, women are the only ones that can teach. Women are always superior fighters in this society. And I'm just like, why are you doing this?
Maybe he really likes lions.
Even then, male lions are stronger than female
Yeah, but
lions.
the female lions do all the hunting. I could be totally wrong.
No, you're right. The
Right.
the females hunt for lions, but these are human people.
But,
Human people.
Human people. Yes. These are not cat people.
but maybe like in this universe that he's writing in, maybe biology isn't the same. Like
It's-
in our reality, yeah, men have like 30% more muscle mass and stuff
but
like
the
that.
thing is, they even talk about it, whereas like, yeah, you have more muscle, but speed's more important. It's like, yeah, but muscle's also involved in speed.
Yeah.
And another thing they say is that women are also calmer, so brings in other things about gender that we're not going to get into here. But it's just one of those things that when I read stuff like that, it's fine if you wanted to have a society dominated by women and women were the warriors and men stayed at home for whatever reason, which, again, biology doesn't make much sense because the reason men go off to fight is because you can repopulate much quicker if half the men are wiped out than half the women. Women are the stopgap for increasing population, which is...
Yeah.
And then men, of course, have
Reproductive
the power and
bottleneck.
stuff like that. So, but that is generally the reason it's thought. We're getting into things that don't matter. I'm going to offend people. There's no way around it after talking about that. But it's just one of those things where it strikes me as someone coming across as being too
Pandering.
Yeah, pandering. And I'm just like, again, I would have no problem if it was women that were warriors. This is a fantasy society. Whatever happened, there's a strong female queen, and it's tradition passed down that the women are the warriors. But it's just like the men just aren't as good. And also, this is just weird. This has nothing to do with anything feminist. This society has no concept of fathers because sex is just something they do. But somehow there are no lesbians, I guess, that don't ever get pregnant because they don't have sex with men. And I was just like, what is this? Why are you writing these things? So I love Patrick Rothfuss. I love most of his writing, but there's some things he writes that I'm just like, what is this? Like, they think it's weird that as these people call them, the barbarians, which also doesn't make sense since they're very violent and they're not violent. They're very good at fighting. Everything they do revolves around fighting, but everyone else is barbarians because they follow a path and yada, yada, yada. Read the books. They're good.
Even after all that, read the books.
They're still really good books. There's just a few things that I read, and other people, I'm sure you didn't even think twice about those things, right? But
I picked up on it a little bit,
Yeah.
but I think maybe I was just kind of a little more forgiving.
Yeah.
Like, it's a fantasy world. Like, I think the same thing. I'm like, it doesn't...
I mean, it could have even been they were like, yeah, but in this, for whatever reason, this subset of people, because they are a different race, they could be like, the women have taken over in terms of strength and stuff like that and speed. But instead it's just like, no, women are better tempered to be soldiers.
Also, it seemed to me
Mercenaries.
like they get a lot of their fighting prowess from almost like this meditation, like tapping into this like inner calm, and maybe that's just something that the females
They have key powers.
Yeah. Well, it's never quite described that way, but yeah, it's kind of like that. They're more or less armed monks that use swords and stuff like that. They're a nation of mercenaries because their own homeland is very barren. It's kind of irrelevant, but the biggest thing that bothered me was definitely these people have so much sex with everybody all the time. They have no concept of how children are made, and it's just like, how nobody's like I said, there are apparently just no lesbians in this society. Where they'd be like, oh look, when you're a lesbian you don't get pregnant. I wonder if men have something to do with it.
They don't make that connection.
Oh
yeah, because I remember that scene when they don't realize the connection between sex and pregnancy.
And
how could they not figure that out?
And they have the main character Kvoth laying in bed with one of these women, and he's like and he asks how they deal with pregnancy, and she's like, oh, you think men have something, you believe in, what was it, like, man mothers is what they call them, instead of fathers, because they have no concept of fatherhood.
Oh, right. And then their thing is they don't believe that men have anything to do with reproduction. They think that babies just kind of pop into it. Into the
they think what women do is when a guy ejaculates, they are releasing their anger into the woman, and the woman can then burn that anger to do things like create children, but the man is not actually in any way related to the child.
I remember that now. That struck me as very odd.
What?
It's something that really bothered me when I was sitting there listening to it. I was like, why is this a thing? Like, I get you want to have a promiscuous nation, whatever, you can do that, and they don't sleep with the barbarians because this society is also apparently somehow disease-free, because apparently he thinks the only way you can get diseases is by having sex with people, even though it's much easier to transfer most sexual diseases through cuts, and they're warriors. So you would absolutely get diseases when you get cut, and then you cut someone else and they bleed into your wound.
Yeah, they're super famous mercenaries. They're fighting all the time.
Yeah, that's what they do. They fight.
Or, like tetanus.
Yeah. But I mean,
I feel like with a cut running around in the mud.
They're specifically, they it's not they don't get any disease. It's that their society is disease-free for sexual transmitted diseases.
Okay.
No STIs. So it's just like, there's certain things that he writes, and I'm just like, just think about that for a second, and then don't put that in your book. That's all you have to do. Just don't have a society that doesn't believe in fathers. Even if the males aren't involved in child rearing, have them be smart enough to make the connection between, if there's no sex, no children. Like, specifically heterosexual sex. Like,
right.
I don't know, it bothered me.
What I will say, though, to end that on a positive note, is it's kind of rare that I read fantasy that actually makes me laugh out loud. And there are some scenes, especially in the first book, that were just so funny. And that's, I don't know, I find it's hard for me in a book and that kind of thing, me to find something that amusing, but he's good at that. Yeah,
no, he genuinely is a good writer. There's just some ideas he has that just completely confuse me. I'm like, why put this in here? This isn't necessary. This doesn't even make sense. Now that I've gone on a bit of a rant, I guess I'll let other people talk.
I think the last podcast you went on, no, it wasn't the last one. It was a while ago. Now that I'm thinking about it, you went on quite the rant.
Yeah, I do that. And that one was about furries, so furries and fetishes. Again,
I could rant about that one.
To each your own.
I won't.
I just don't need to know. And again, it's one thing when it comes up in a normal conversation where that just, for whatever reason, that topic comes up. There's no, as far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't have any taboo topics. Like, you should talk about whatever you want to talk about. But if I'm talking to you and then you tell me about one of your fetishes out of nowhere, you're a bit weird, and I didn't want to know that. That's all.
Maybe I shouldn't have brought this up.
Yeah. I can't help it. I rant. It's what I do. I'm not very talkative, but once you get me talking, it can be hard to get me to shut the hell up.
It's like what they say, the joke of what they say about vegans and atheists. Like,
yeah.
How do you spot them? Oh, they'll find you.
Yeah.
They'll let you know.
They'll let you know, yeah.
I am an atheist, so that might have something to do with it. But I don't talk about my atheism in any situation, well, except now, apparently. Except when someone else is like, do you believe in Jesus? I'm like, no, I don't.
I believe in Jesus. Jesus existed. This dude.
I'm not entirely convinced he was, but that's not for this podcast.
I'm reading a book about history and ancient Mesopotamia.
Yeah.
Textbook.
So the Middle East. It's not a textbook. It's just a factual book.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bible was written over many hundreds of years.
Well,
Or at
I mean,
least that's what
thousands
this
if you
says.
include the Torah to the New Testament. But
Look, I don't know much about it, so I shouldn't really say anything.
the New Testament was put together at the Council of Nicaea by politicians. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, well,
Moving on.
I was gonna say something else. You said the atheists and vegans. I saw something a couple of weeks ago, and it was like people who don't watch Game of Thrones are the new vegans in the sense that they will tell you that they don't watch Game of Thrones like
Yeah.
it's something to be proud of.
I mean,
That
you
was-
didn't for the longest
That
time.
was
didn't,
me.
but I didn't
Yeah.
go brag about the fact that I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I didn't really care. You wanted to talk about it, talk about it.
I
I'm
was,
never gonna
I
watch
was
it.
super proud that I've never watched it.
I
Yeah,
know.
you have.
And I wasn't going to watch it either when Nikki was watching it. But she
You
was
were
watching it, and I was
so
like turning around,
disappointed
looking
in
at the
me.
TV, and I was like, man, this is getting kind of interesting. And that's like, eventually it took about, 3 or 4 episodes
Yeah.
before I decided to get out of my computer chair and actually go sit on the couch and watch it.
Yeah.
The only downside to
really
that,
good.
though, was that now I can't watch it when you're not home.
I'm always home.
I know, but sometimes you leave.
Yeah, that's one of the things I used to find when I was in a relationship was the show watching. It's like it's hard sometimes to find your own show because your partner's always gonna like stumble across you watching the episode, and if they like it, then you're like, ah, fuck, I'm screwed. Now I gotta wait.
I don't
can't-
understand that.
I can't watch it on my
Sorry.
own time.
Well, dude, if someone watches an episode, catch up and then talk about it. Like, I don't see the big issue. I don't know.
I remember watching a show on Netflix called The 100.
I hate that show.
I loved it. It was a really great show. I watched season 1, half of season 2. I did not know somebody was watching
Oh, yeah.
over my
I was watching
shoulder.
from the computer chair the whole time.
Yeah.
behind me. I had no idea. We never talked about it. And then one day, I was homesick. He went to school, and I watched way too much. I
Yeah.
watched like half a season at least,
Yeah.
which was like 5.5 hours of content. And you came home and you were like, "What? You've been watching this the whole day? You didn't tell me I was watching it. I didn't even know."
Well,
I tend to do
I'm just gonna defend my point there. It's just something I hate in fiction, which is it had the pretty guy kidnap the woman and then they fall in love, and I was like that was too much for me. I'm out.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Yeah.
It's kind of like that, except it's not, because it's like she's kidnapped for half an episode, and then she's like, oh, but he's super cute, so it's okay. It's like, it's
Yeah,
not
but then-
okay.
Then she also like learns a language, learns how to fight,
Yeah.
and then tries to avenge him.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things where like she was kidnapped, and then she was like, but it's okay because he was going to let everyone else I know die, because that's all right as well. And I was like, fuck this show. I'm out. I'm out.
It was pretty dumb. It was definitely made for like a teenage
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah, that's the thing I noticed. I was like, this
I
is...
mean, everybody in the show is in their late teens.
It's
Yeah.
like Space Degrassi.
Space
I didn't watch
Degrassi.
Degrassi, so I'll take
Well, I
your
mean,
word
I
for
guess
it.
they're not in space anymore. They go off with a spaceship,
Oh,
and
and
it becomes...
And then
Post-apocalyptic Degrassi.
And then, spoiler, one of the first first main characters to die is a black guy. Surprise.
He's like the first.
yeah.
And he's, again, spoilers, but this is like the first 3 episodes. He's killed by the youngest of all of them.
Yeah, killed by a little girl.
Little girl kills him, lies to everybody.
So,
She's like, "Oh my God, he died. What happened?" Horrible person.
it's not a good show. Don't watch it.
I think it's a great show, but then again, I haven't seen any of season 4 except for the first episode. So
I thought like the start of season 2 was pretty good.
Yeah.
Season 1 was definitely, that's where the Degrassi term comes from. It was all just drama, like essentially high school drama. And then season 2 is when it actually started getting kind of interesting.
I couldn't get past it. It was like that episode where she was learning the language. Like, oh God, she's falling in love. I don't care that he's pretty. He kidnapped you and was going to let all of your friends die. That's not okay. Like,
It's
and
okay. Blood will have blood. Or whatever the saying they have.
and spoiler alert, everybody still speaks English on the Earth for some reason.
yeah.
Stupid.
Well, except for, the language that she had to learn to understand the people that are living on Earth.
Yeah, but they still speak English. That's my problem.
Yeah, they do
English
all
would not have
speak
survived
English.
hundreds of years or whatever it has been since they left Earth.
Like, English became like the savage language, though, right? There was like, that's for the warriors.
Yeah,
Remember
actually,
a saying like that?
to be fair, the chances are that the language on the space station would change not the language on Earth, because there are fewer people in space than on Earth, I think.
Why wasn't the language Chinese the most popular
Yeah.
language, right? Well, I guess Mandarin specifically.
It would have become kind of a mishmash of every language that was available in that cramped space, because everyone has to talk to everyone, so you get bits and pieces everywhere. But that's just me being a nerd, so...
Didn't Firefly did that pretty well, didn't they?
Yep,
They spoke in a combination of English and Mandarin.
It was mostly English because, of course, you wanted to actually be able to understand them, but everyone could speak both languages, and usually they would swear in Mandarin so you could get past censors, because they wouldn't censor a swear that was in Mandarin. So that was usually when they said
That's
something
clever.
in Mandarin. You haven't seen Firefly, right?
No.
I haven't seen it either.
Watch it. You both need to watch it. It's one of the best TV shows
Look,
out
man,
there.
we're still on Game of Thrones. We'll get
Finish
there
Game of Thrones
eventually.
first, and then watch Firefly. It's only one season. You'll be sad that it's only one season.
13 episodes and then a movie. It's really not a huge commitment.
Isn't it supposed to be like 7 seasons in a movie?
Six-
No, the Community.
Community.
6 seasons in a
seasons in a
movie.
movie.
Yeah,
6
that's
seasons.
yeah. Community got their 6 seasons. No movie yet, though.
Well, I think that's going to be about time to wrap it up. And just before we go, I just wanted to bring up once again that November, is it 4th or 5th?
I think it's November 4th. It's the first Saturday in November.
Yeah, some of us will be participating in an Extra Life stream.
And it's for the Rooster Teeth community that we're playing for.
Okay, so are we going to be supporting their hospital? Is that how that works? I'm not entirely sure.
We're supporting the IWK because it's
Okay.
our local hospital.
Good. I just wasn't sure if we were on their team, if we had to support their hospital. But I'm glad that it's not, because I wanted to support the IWK. So that's good news. And if...
I believe our Twitch is Nova Scotia RT community
Okay.
or something along those lines. If it's not that, it's Nova Scotia or NSRT community or Rooster Teeth.
It'll be in the description on our YouTube channel, that's for sure. RT Nova Scotia Community, I think.
NS Rooster Teeth, something.
Yeah.
Something.
Again, I'll have to get I'll get this in order, not for the next podcast because we record it right after this one, but for the one after that, a little bit of behind the scenes for all of you. And we have, I guess we'll get to that later when we actually have everything properly in front of us, so we can
Yes.
promote our stuff properly.
And we also have the email, so if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to send us, it goes to... Oh
Yeah.
my god, here we are again.
We need to
It goes
prepare for
to
this.
rtns@mmepodcast.com.
And so that's it from me, Matthew.
Nathan?
Miki?
And Sean.
See you next time.